Greetings, friends. It's me, Wayman, and just wanted to come on and give everybody an update and say hello. I'm down here in the garage, the ceramic studio I kind of made, and I wanted to show you some pottery that I'm working on, mostly stuff for wet shaving and functional pottery. And all this stuff I'm going to show you is Christmas presents, right? Because I stink at it still, trying to get back and relearn everything. Handles were horrible the other day. I'm trying to relearn that. Mugs were heavy on the bottom. But I did get a little bit better over the last few weeks. And maybe I can sell a few things in the new year. So that's my goal. So just show you around a little bit. This is my wheel here. And today I was kind of working on the wet shaving ideas and concepts, and I have some family members who do this, and they're trying to help me out here. So some family members were nice enough to send me these brushes, and so I can kind of work some ideas. So what I want to do is throw a bowl that would fit inside this container. So what you do is you'd put hot water in here, and then you'd whip up your shaving cream in this. But I kind of wanted to make it so that you would be able to hang your brush in there and let it dry. I've seen some other concepts with the brush in the handle, something like this or something like this. So I might work that out. And get my coffee here. This is one of the mugs that I really like. It's got a hand warmer on the inside, and you kind of pick it up like this. It's kind of nice. So I want to make a shaving bowl kind of like this design too. Anyways, got some clay I'm reclaiming there, and so got that going. Here's a bunch of planters I made. They're just little cups I did while practicing, cups and planters. I may leave some of these raw and use them as planters, or glaze the inside and make little cups out of them. I tried putting some texture on some of these, which I'll put iron oxide into. I don't know if you can see these lines on here. I did some design work. The ones down here I kind of had some fun with. Ended up doing some things. I put a handle on this one, put some texture on the front, made kind of like a little set. This is a little textured piece here, but these are all going to look kind of interesting. Here's one here. This is one that I like. It's a little cup with some texture on the lip and on the side, so when you pick it up you can actually feel the clay, and I kind of like that idea, feeling the texture as you're using the piece. Here's a shaving bowl set and cup. Hopefully I got this part here big enough and deep enough. So I put texture on the insides of these so it's easier to whip up your cream. These are my mugs here. Some of these I had a hard time with the handles, but they came out fairly decent, and they kind of got a nice look to them, but I still need to get a little bit better. Trimming was a nightmare. Trimming, I had to relearn that, but I think I improved some over the last trims. You can see the bottoms here, and when you're trimming, you need to think about the profile of your cup and how it'll sit. So, that's kind of a nice profile there, I think. Been trying to work on my handles, as I said earlier, and get this straight. So that's what I've been up to. Got this pie plate here. Probably be a platter. Got that little casserole dish I need to fire out. And got a whole bunch of stuff going on. I made some trim tools. Seen a guy online who was doing this. Just took a hacksaw blade And these work awesome because you can put lines in your clay as you're trimming. And so I got a bunch of cheapo hacksaw blades, bent them up, sharpened them on the grinder, and kind of made my own here. And it's been working out really good. Here's a stone that I use for texture. Yeah, so I'm kind of like exploring a lot of different things. And what I wanted to get to, I kind of finished reading Eisenman, the New Testament Code, which was an awesome book. You might not agree with everything he says, but it really highlighted the importance of the Dead Sea Scrolls and how they influenced Judaism in early Christianity. It's amazing. So all the stuff where the Zealots signed up with, the idea that the Essenes were peaceful people, Eisenman says, no way. And you can read that, Dead Sea Scrolls, the War Scroll. So I guess like every room has a library in it, I guess. I keep these books down here because when I'm thinking about art and designing stuff, I kind of like to use literature to help me do that. This book here, Crazy for God, Frank Schaeffer, is awesome. I'm on page about 180 in that one. That's a pretty good memoir. But a little more on the Eisenman book. He really underscored what a sham the Apostle Paul was. And I really enjoyed that because it gave me an answer. It gave me an answer to evangelicalism and on how all of that it can be taken in a totally different light, especially like in Acts 15, where James, the brother of Jesus, is seen as the overseer of the early Christian communities. And they pretty much establish the Noahide laws in there to these Gentiles that Paul was bringing in. They're furious with him. Why? Because he was all things to all people. And you can read that section of New Testament text where he talks about that. You know, to the Jew, he's a Jew, to the Gentile, so that he can win everybody. What happened, it kind of backfired and made him look like a hypocrite. Because if I was following a guy like that around, I would have questions about it too. So what's amazing is they call Paul in the book of Acts. You can read the whole thing through. So if you read Eisenman, it took me about 6 months to read that. And you read Dead Sea Scrolls, Community Rule, War Scroll, Damascus Document, Pastor of Habakkuk. You read that, and then read Acts. And the text just comes to life. And it's amazing that you can see the pro-Pauline hand behind sections of Acts, the writings of Paul, and the writings of Luke, taking jabs at James. And even where Peter has the vision of clean and unclean, it's fun to call it the bacon chapter. But it's quite amazing too. Because now Peter's told that he can mix clean and unclean, which was a huge problem. And that was one of the issues Paul had. His mixing of clean and unclean, bringing strangers into the temple, his views on circumcision, what you had to do, what you didn't have to do, was all brought into question. And at the time, and the historical context of this, with Roman appointed high priests and Roman influence in the temple, they see it as a huge contamination to the belief system. So the Essenes leave that community, they start up their own because they can't trust the mainstream anymore. And then they actually come back and fight with Judaism against the Romans during the Roman War against the Jews. Josephus, Wars of the Jews, is amazing. Eisman uses his text quite a bit, and so it was great. So I hope that you all are doing well. A lot of stuff going on with YouTube now. I don't know about YouTube Red, how that paid subscription service will happen, and what will it do to impact videos. But I'm going to try to keep making videos. I've been on here for a long time, and I appreciate all the viewers and everything that I learned from you guys, and the interactions I've had, the awesome books that you've all either sent or recommended, and I've sent some of you some books, my viewers, and I really appreciate your viewership, whatever might happen. So I'm going to hang around as long as I can. But yeah, so I guess today I'm going to probably run some glaze tests. I got the raw materials in for the glazing. I got to mix up a whole bunch of things to see what'll work and what won't work on the clay. And for the test tiles I got here. This video's getting kind of long, but so I made up some test tiles. Here, they're kind of numbered, and I can glaze these to see how it's going to work. And I had some more. This is what you can do to pots. I messed this one up, trim, and went right through the bottom, but I cut this, and I can use this as a glaze test tile to see how things are going to flow and how they look on the clay and different things. So there you have it. Take care, friends. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Be well, and remember, if everybody's thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking.